That the Kansas Open Meeting Act notice has been properly provided.
I can confirm that the packet was posted and the required notice of the meeting was provided.
Okay. Move on to item 1.3, roll call.
I will call roll. Commissioner Baffa. Commissioner Gilmore.
Here.
Commissioner Mikesell.
Here.
Commissioner Gillum.
Here.
Vice Chair Martin.
Here.
Okay, that gives us 4 members in attendance, which constitutes a quorum, and we've provided advance notice of today's meeting, so that allow us to move ahead with today's agenda, starting with the minutes from your last meeting.
Okay. Item 2.1 is the approval of the minutes of October 25th, 2023 regular meeting. If you want to take a few moments, look over those. If you have any questions, please ask the staff at this time.
I move that we approve the minutes as posted.
Seconded.
All right. I have a motion and a second to accept the minutes as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Minutes from October 25th have been approved.
We have no public hearing items or cases coming before you this afternoon, but we do have several administrative items that we would like the board to address. And first and foremost, if you've read the minutes from the October 25th meeting, this commission voted to appoint Jerry Ivy, the Planning Commission representative, to serve as the chair for the coming year, recognizing that Mr. Ivy was a candidate for the City Commission, and Mr. Ivy has been elected to the City Commission and is now serving, which means he can no longer serve on the Planning Commission and, by extension, the Heritage Commission. And so that leaves us right back where we were in October, needing to elect a replacement chair. And so only Heritage Commission members who have served on this commission for at least 12 months are eligible to serve as chair or vice chair. And all current members, except for Maggie Gillum, are eligible for the position of commission chair. And the reason that Maggie is not is because she previously served 2 consecutive terms as the chair, and she couldn't hold a 3rd term. So right now, Mr. Martin is the vice chair and acting chair for this meeting. And so primarily what we need to do is elect a replacement chair to serve until September of this year, when we'll have new board appointments and election of officers. So at this point, I will open the floor either for volunteers or nominations to serve in that capacity till September this year.
Volunteers, anyone? It's not that hard.
I will volunteer for chair.
Oh, there we go. All right.
So we have a volunteer. Was that Mr. Mikesell has
Yes.
volunteered? So that, is there anybody else that wants to step forward to volunteer or make any additional nominations? If not, I will close the floor and I will put the motion before the commission. All those in favor of electing Chris Mikesell to be your chair through September, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, that motion passes. And we now have a chair. We will let Mr. Martin finish out as acting chair for this meeting, but Mr. Martin is the vice chair, and he gets to remain as the vice chair, so we don't need to have any other elections or nominations. So that takes care of that item. And then Item 3.2 on your agenda today is the Salina City Commission, who appoints numerous advisory board members to serve on committees, commissions, and boards, asks that the bodies that they appoint provide them with an annual report of their activities and accomplishments. They're also very interested to know how many times a board meets, what their activity is, and they're particularly interested in member participation. They like to appoint volunteers who are active and participate in the commission. So we have provided a written report for your review and comment, and so we have Exhibit A deals with attendance, and if you think you've been shortchanged or missed in terms of attending meetings, you can get with Margie after the meeting and ask that be adjusted. Exhibit B is just the roster, and if you see anything there, like we have a wrong residence or mailing address for you or something that's out of date, please let Margie know and we can get that updated. And then the third exhibit is just a listing of the cases or those items that were considered, and both of them in 2023 involved the Kansas Wesleyan University campus. One was seeking input from the commission about the potential eligibility of Peters Science Hall to be on the National Register, and the other involved a certificate of appropriateness to allow renovations to move forward on Sam's Chapel and the construction of an addition to Pioneer Hall, which earlier was placed on the National Register of Historic Places. So as a result of that, we had 2 regular meetings and 2 special meetings to consider those cases. And we did go back and review and renew the certified local government agreement with the state in August of 2022. And so what that means is we have a number of National Register properties in the city, and through our certified local government agreement, that allows you as a Heritage Commission to review those locally instead of having them reviewed by the State Historic Preservation Office. So I'll give you a minute to review that report, ask any questions or clarifications you have, and if you get to the end of that and you're comfortable with that, then you could just have a motion to direct staff to submit that on your behalf. So with that, we'd be open to any questions that you have.
I had a question, not really pertaining to the report, but since Jerry Ivy's moved into the city commission, does that open up a spot on this commission?
It does. We currently have 6 appointed members, and so what happened was that Mr. Ivy was representing the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission has nominated Tom Sydow to replace Jerry Ivy on the Heritage Commission. So that would give us 6 members, but it's a 7-member board, and we still have 1 opening for an interested citizen. So the way that works is that the Planning Commission puts forward a nomination to serve on the Heritage Commission. That goes before the City Commission so the mayor can make that appointment to the Heritage Commission. So we're in the process of moving Mr. Sydow's nomination forward, and then when he is seated, that will give us 6 members out of a 7-member board. But we can always use another member and be at full 7 because it just avoids having issues with quorums and things like that when we have a full 7-member commission. So.
All right, did anybody have any other questions, comments?
I move that we approve the report as printed and all the exhibits to send on.
I'll second.
All right, have a motion and a second to approve the
Second.
2023 Heritage Commission Annual Report as presented. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So we will pass that on to the City Commission as part of our annual report, and that we provide information. I think I was working with one of our administrative staff last night. We determined that the planning division, we staffed or held 42 public hearings, public meetings last year across, if you take the Planning Commission, Board of Zoning Appeals, Downtown Design Review Board, and Heritage Commission, that resulted in 42 public meetings for appointed advisory boards. And so those, along with attendance, are the things that the City Commission is interested in. As far as preliminary discussion items, we don't have any to bring forward to discuss. As far as other business, this board meets quarterly, and then it also meets with special meetings based on applications that are received. And so we have 3 items of information. If you look at the activity level, number of cases, last year it was down a little, but sometimes these kind of preservation projects, they don't occur all that frequently, but that doesn't diminish the work or importance of this board. I was doing some research and pulled out an item from an article that was done in 2006, and the article is stating that for the second time in 3 years, a Salina restoration project has been awarded the Kansas Preservation Alliance's Award of Excellence. The Pioneer President's Place, a project that saw renovation of the former Roosevelt Lincoln Middle School into a senior housing complex, is the 2006 winner of the award. In 2004, they gave that award to the city of Salina for the renovation of the former Fox Theater into the Stiefel Theater for Performing Arts. And so even though the Heritage Commission might not have the frequency or the number of cases, sometimes you're involved. The Heritage Commission was heavily involved with the renovation of Roosevelt Lincoln Complex, and very, very involved with the renovation of the former Fox Theater, now Stiefel Theater, and that has occurred in multiple years and on multiple levels. And so we just wanted to point out that even though it seems like maybe we don't meet that often or have as many cases as other boards, the ones that do come forward are pretty important. And that was a good reflection on the work of the Heritage Commission to have 2 project award winners in a 3-year period. So wanted to remind the commission of that. The second thing we have is just to give you an update on 516 North 8th Street. and that was a property where there were fairly dilapidated home and there were exterior renovations that were done on that home, and those came before the Heritage Commission for review, and that home is now completed and it has a certificate of occupancy. And Mr. Hers was just going to give you kind of a before and after snapshot or synopsis. And I think the only thing that we found that was not identical or completed exactly the way it was presented to the Heritage Commission was those doors and what we were interpreting as the plan to put double doors both at the main entry and also on the porch above. But I think Dustin has a photograph of, this is the before photo, and then we have a completion photo.
Yes, thank you. So to recap the project, it is a property that's on the west side of South 8th Street across from the Morrison House, to give you kind of the geographic area of where this property is located. And when they came to the Heritage Commission in 2001, they were looking to refurbish the house and the structure in a way that kept a lot of the historical character of the property, but renovated and brought it into proper maintenance. So most of the siding was replaced with new siding. There was a lot of fish scale siding that was also replaced. There were a number of windows that were either removed or replaced. And so we'll kind of walk through those a little bit. As Mr. Andrew mentioned, the front facade, which faces 8th Street, proposed to eliminate two doors that were, or two large windows, and create them a main entrance that would have double doors. And that would be on the main level. There's also a balcony above it that there would also be two doors. And what they ended up going with is a single door on the main level and a single door on the upper level, but for the most part the rest is in character with the plans that were approved by this board. There's also the south side of the property where there's a couple of windows that were going to be replaced on the upper level as well as towards the rear. There's also a door that they thought they were going to remove, and that led to the basement. They ended up keeping that door. I'll find a picture of that. So this would be the south side, and you can see the new windows that have been installed and the covered porch area to the rear that has had the windows replaced and all of the walls and siding replaced, and a new door replacing the old door that was dilapidated. On the north side, there was a door that was going to be replaced with a window, actually two doors. One would be removed, one would be replaced with a window, and then a couple of windows that would be removed and replaced so that there was more symmetry to the structure. And you can see that that door was removed in the rear and here, and then the windows were replaced to match and have more symmetry on the building. And lastly, you have the rear of the structure, in which some of the awning would be removed and a window would be removed, and this is what they ended up with here. Try to zoom out a little bit. Oh, that's as far as it goes. So you can see that they've resided the entire structure. They have put a new veneer limestone around the base of the foundation to match what was there previously, and they have new columns. The entire porch structure was removed and rebuilt, and all the fish scales were redone as well. And then there was a lot of conversation about the decorative corbels that were also replaced, and I'll zoom in so you can see kind of what we're talking about there. It's hard to make out on the screen, but so when staff did our inspection, our final inspection, we concluded that the project was completed in substantial conformance to the plans that this board approved, with some of the minor modifications, mainly being the front doors. Instead of having double doors on the main floor and the balcony, they have single doors on the main floor and the balcony.
So it occurred to us that we don't always, you have plans that come before you, and then we don't always report back to the commission how it turned out. So we thought this would give us an opportunity to let you know how the renovation turned out, and we try to do the best we can to make sure that the commission's wishes and guidance is carried through in the project as much as possible. So we hope you're pleased how it turned out. So.
And I'll add that the house is on the market. I'm sure the owners would appreciate me mentioning that, but it's also online if you'd like to view it in more detail. So you can see the pictures of the outside as well as the inside.
So I had one other business matter, and that was to report to you that the former St. John's Hospital has been purchased by a nursing school that is in Phoenix, Arizona, and we don't know much about the nursing school except for their online presence, but we've gotten lots of contact from neighbors and stuff because there's some activity going on there where construction debris and things are being carried out of the building. And I'll turn to Margie to see if she knows anything more than us. There appears to be an architect involved with the project.
All we know is that there's an architect involved in the project. We haven't had any contact yet, but waiting to hear.
So we don't even know for sure that they're wanting to do a conversion or utilize all or portion of the building for their nursing school, but we can't think of any other reason why a nursing school would buy a building like that unless they wanted to use it for something related to their mission. And so we'll try to keep the commission informed as we learn more. Maybe Maggie knows more than we do, but there's an architect in her firm that's working with them. So
That's all I know. You guys know about as much as I know.
okay, so don't know how they identified Jones Gillum, don't know any of those things, but we have not had, except for the people that were on the premises doing work, we haven't had any luck having conversations with them, but we are trying to get a development review team meeting set up so that we can meet with them and their architect to see what their vision is, and we'll do our best to keep you informed. Aside from that, those are the only unfinished or other business items that we have, and we don't have anything more to bring before you this evening.
Dean, I had a question. When a title changes hands in a historic district, is that property owner mailed any information about responsibilities being within the district?
Well, we have things that are online that are unavailable. We do have, they're not seemingly as recognizable as they used to be, but we have, we had a grant and we placed brown boundary signs at every historic district that lets people know what the boundaries of that are, but more times than not, the owner makes the purchase and it's disclosed to them they're in a district, and then they reach out to staff and we provide them with information. But nobody notifies us necessarily when a property changes hands in a historic district. And I'm trying to remember, do you remember, Margie, how we found out that is it just because there was activity over there, or because most of us didn't know that somebody had purchased the former St. John's Hospital. So we don't often know that a property changes hands. So we're mostly in the business of trying to make sure that the maps and the information and all about our historic districts are publicly available. And then when we have a new buyer, it's not uncommon for them to reach out, and then we provide them information about their specific district and sometimes their specific property. I mean, there's John Berger was our historic preservation specialist for 29 years, and there's nobody on our staff that has the knowledge and capabilities that he had about historic preservation. So we're just doing our best to maintain the information that he gathered and built. But in many cases, I mean, we have notebooks that, for instance, 516 South 8th, there's about a 3-page written summary of the property, who built it, who's lived there, what the notable features of it are. And so we have a pretty good inventory and information about every home that's in a historic district that we're able to provide the owner. But because we don't know when new owners occur, it's almost incumbent on them to reach out to us.
I also had a question if you guys had any more information on the house at 619 South Santa Fe.
We do. I can report that the City Commission approved, and we have hired, I guess it'd be fair to say it's a combination code enforcement, building inspector position, Margie? Just code enforcement. So we have a code enforcement division, and we've created a position and added it, and their sole task is to work with dangerous structures and those types of things. So what occurred with that was that the owner told everybody they would tear it down themselves. They were willing to do that. They hired a demolition contractor. The demolition contractor decided that they didn't think they were going to get paid if they did the demolition, and so they backed out of it, and the owners couldn't find any contractor to do it themselves. So now it is on the city's list where we'll solicit bids and get a contractor where the city will initiate the demolition. But that has been the delay. It's been a combination of manpower and the fact that the owners expressed a preference for doing it themselves but can't seem to do it themselves, so the city is now going to step in and do it. The house is still there. It's still placarded. No one's living there, but we haven't got it taken down yet. So.
All right. Does anybody else have any other questions? Okay. Is there anybody from the public on today?
We have anybody online?
We do not
So,
have anyone online.
Public forum is a chance for anyone either online or in attendance to speak to the board about anything that's not on today's agenda. And absent that, seeing no one that wishes to speak, we could move on to adjournment.
I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I would move to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.